Hello everyone. Got a short video, kind of a different video for you today. And first of all, I changed the backdrop. I'm showing the mechanical workbench portion of my lab. All I had to do was turn the camera 90 degrees because right over there is the backdrop that I usually show, the display of all the projects that I finished. In case you haven't noticed, I did change my profile picture to Clippy. And what I'm doing is I'm supporting the work that Louis Rossmann put out about a week ago, asking us YouTube content creators, especially guys like me that work on stuff that's technology oriented, as a form of protest against some of the worst behaviors that big tech and big media and big AI is doing to us today. I also noticed today that Dave Jones over on the EEV blog channel did the exact same thing with a very aggravating review that he did of a camera that you can't even use until you register it, and they get all your data and all the nasty things that can go along with it. So it's really coming down to a collection of bad behaviors that these companies are doing. The data harvesting I just mentioned, the everything seeming to go to a planned, purposeful subscription model. You buy an article, but you never really own it because you have to subscribe in order to get the basic features to even work. And it's just an intrusion into our private lives. It gives no value to the usable nature of our products. And the most important element of all this, for me at least, is right to repair. I think it's been very clear over the years that the stuff that I work on is kind of old, in some cases over 50 years old, but I'm still able to find ways to get these items to perform like they were brand new, like this DX60, this Tektronix scope. I use these and I still enjoy them. And without right to repair, they would have been in a landfill or scrapped decades ago and just generated more and more waste. The things that manufacturers did years ago were much more encouraging for hobbyists like me and you, hopefully you, to work on stuff like this. Things like they publish schematics, they publish troubleshooting instructions to at least get you started on where to work. Now, granted, these things are simpler and you can actually get your fingers in there and work on them. They actually use mostly common parts or very few proprietary parts in any of the stuff that I'm showing here or any of the other projects I've worked on for that matter. I get it. You know, modern smartphones and computers and things like that, it's manufacturingly friendly to make a custom ASIC and custom control software. But then you lock it down and nobody can get into it. And worse, you put in that code that puts in that subscription model or other things to just make it a hassle for the user to use. I'm proud that I've saved this stuff and I can still enjoy it nowadays and share it with you. And hopefully you guys can do the same thing too. And the last thing I would say is manufacturers years ago, for sure, had roadmaps for coming out with new products. They generated new technology. But nowadays, it just seems like it's so accelerated that a lot of these companies are advancing to levels we've never seen with taking the limited resources of this planet and turning it into garbage as fast as possible. That's not sustainable, folks. We've got to maximize the usage out of these kind of things and find ways to fix them and keep them functional for as long as possible. So if I haven't been clear before, let me be clear now. I am a big supporter of right to repair. Now, to close out this short video, let's talk about the image that I used for my profile image. I could have just taken the JPEG for Clippy, but I thought, why not have AI generate something? So I gave AI this prompt, quote, create a whimsical image of a stylized paperclip with googly eyes and give it the appearance of wanting to help. And that's what you see. That's what it spit out. Now, there's two principles that are generally accepted today about what you get from AI. Number one is it's very good and getting better about not generating content that it thinks will violate someone else's intellectual property or violate a copyright. In fact, I've had many times where I've tried to do something to generate an innocuous image for like a work project, and nope, can't do that. Violates copyright. Second item is, again, occurring according to current interpretation, that the content generated by any AI algorithm is owned by the requester, by the person who created the prompt, not the people who wrote the AI code or maintain the AI servers. So what does this mean? I'm assuming that I own this image that I created, and I'm not going to stop you guys if you want to use it for your profile image, and I'm not going to charge you a subscription. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.